Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for joining this office hours for COIS FRSC 2750 computer crime. I want to go over a few things. Going to sort of take a quick look back over the last couple of weeks, and then we'll look forward as to what's coming up. I hope this is useful. I will be posting this video. I recognize and appreciate the fact that you that are with me right now have taken the time out of your day to come and participate. I understand that people don't necessarily have the time. They may be working or whatever. I will be posting the video afterwards with an announcement, and in that announcement, I will mention that I consider it to be absolutely mandatory, if you didn't get a chance to attend it in person, that you review this video. I had an interesting Friday evening, which was the day that the first quiz was due in this course and in my other two courses that I teach. So I teach a total of 3 courses. I have 800 students, and I was absolutely bombarded with questions that I had dealt with at length, especially in this course when we had a really good office hours last Saturday. I covered all sorts of ground, and I answered a bunch of questions, and for anyone that spent the time to watch that or participate in that, they knew the answer to most of the questions I was getting. But instead, I got lots of, I've submitted this, I've submitted that, I don't understand why I can't see the quiz, those sorts of questions. If I had 5 students in each class, or 10 students even in each class, I would gladly spend the time to answer each and every email at length. As it is, if 15% of the 800 students that I have a question that I've already covered, that's 120 email. I simply cannot keep up. I had a lot of email coming to me saying, "I've just submitted my course requirements, sir. Can you mark them so that I can see the quiz?" Those were the best ones, because at least they understood what was going on and why the quiz wasn't available to them. Unfortunately, I can't just drop everything, or I'm not going to drop everything every time a student submits something to be marked. I mean, that is neither fair nor realistic, and it's especially not fair considering that anyone that was submitting the academic integrity module or the course requirements quiz was already a week late by the time we got to last Friday. So I cut off my participation at 9 o'clock on Friday night, which I think is more than fair. I marked every single thing that had been submitted for the 2 mandatories at 9 o'clock through the 3 courses, and then I turned off my email and went about my evening. I still got a lot of email. I spent an hour this morning answering all the email for the people that didn't understand why they couldn't see their quiz, or expected me at 11:30 at night just to A, be awake. I'm old, I'm not awake, and B, just drop whatever my evening plans are to go ahead and mark their late submission. So I just want to reset those expectations. I expect that everyone does their due diligence, uses the resources that are put in front of them in order to answer questions before turning to me and looking for an answer. This isn't high school. You don't just reach out to the teacher every time you have every little question, particularly when it's well documented, the answers for most of those questions. Don't confuse that. Don't confuse that. I am more than happy to answer questions, but please make them unique questions that I haven't dealt with in office hours or generally through the syllabus or whatever. So, and again, just a quick recognition, the people that are here live are almost undoubtedly not the people that are asking those kinds of questions, because you've taken the time out of your day to come and hear what I have to say. So I just wanted to go over a couple more things. So the main problem with anyone that is not seeing quizzes still, and everyone that submitted anything up until about an hour ago should be able to see the quizzes if they've got perfect marks. If they can't see, and by quizzes, I mean quiz 2 at this point. So if you can't see quiz 2, you've got one of two problems. You either have submitted the academic integrity module and it hasn't been correct. The biggest single problem there is not including your name in the screenshot. I'm not asking you to Photoshop your name on it. I'm asking you to capture your name as part of the screenshot showing that you've completed it. That is incidentally right in the question. I specify in the question that I need your name. So probably 15 or 20% of people that submitted the academic integrity module had to be told to resubmit, and that just wastes everybody's time. That's a waste of my time to have to do that. It's a waste of the students' time to not get it right the first time and possibly miss out on a quiz because they thought the submission was right and it wasn't. The other mandatory, of course, was the course requirements quiz. And I learned something this time about that as well. This is only the second time that I've done the course requirements quiz. The philosophy behind it is to avoid a lot of routine questions that are already somewhere else. So the reason I make all the students do that is in the past, I get just bombarded by questions whose answers are found right in the syllabus. So the idea is if you've gone through the course requirements quiz, you've at least had to look at the syllabus or acknowledge, what everything's worth or all the, when things are due, that sort of thing. So I find that, the wiser students, the first stop that they make is the syllabus, but some people need to be encouraged to do that. So, and as you're aware, probably the office hours, the first one, we went through the syllabus. We stepped through it very extensively. It's an important document. So the course requirements quiz, the biggest problems that students had with that had to do with APA citing and APA referencing. The reason that's included there is obviously those are required in your discussion posts. They're going to be required in your term paper. It's mandatory. I provided links to resources, really good Purdue OWL APA formatting that goes through every possible scenario. And by the way, where the questions were drawn from, and also a course skills or an academic skills video to watch about APA formatting if you weren't already familiar with it. Instead of applying thought and analysis like I would expect from university students, some people took the shotgun approach, and the absolute record so far for a number of attempts in the course requirements quiz was 45. So someone decided that instead of bothering to actually look up what the answers were, they just took random guesses until such time as they got it correct. Or maybe they didn't. I just know that the highest number of attempts is 45, and there were multiple people in the 30s. That is absolutely ridiculous. And beyond that, it's extremely disappointing. We are all either university graduates or university students. There is a high expectation that you're here to do analysis and not just push buttons and hope to randomly get to the answer. So I am going to change my methodology moving forward with the next course. It won't change for this course or any other course this term, but I will maximize the number of attempts in a week at 5. And at least that way people will be encouraged not to just submit, because once those are late, it's not auto marked by the software. Instead, I get to acknowledge each and every submission. So it wasn't uncommon for me every few hours when I went through and marked to have 15 minutes of click, acknowledging, one student's 30 attempts, another student's 25, another student's 40 attempts. And like I said, it's discouraging, and it's a bit embarrassing that that's the approach that people took. So yeah, apply some analysis, be a university student and not an automaton that just randomly submits. So yeah, again, my problem is scale. If I had 5 or 10 students, I could instead of saying watch the office hours or refer to the link in my response, I could take a lot more time, but I just simply can't do that, guys. There's not enough time in the day for me to answer the number of email in depth that I get for things that are redundant. If you've got something unique, I will happily address your email and give you a comprehensive response or a guiding hand or whatever. But if someone's going to send me an email and ask me when the quiz is due, I'm not even going to engage in that anymore. So, okay, I think that covers what I want to. I'm just checking my page here, my notes. I think that covers everything that I wanted to say about sort of the past. So if you're still in a situation, if you're watching this as a video or participating here, and you're still in a situation where you can't see quiz 2, that means either you've just submitted your mandatory stuff and I haven't had a chance to mark it in the last hour or so, or you've submitted it and I've marked it and it's not a 100% mark yet. So check your grade center. I always, on the academic integrity module, I always put a comment if there's something that's deficient on that submission. And by the way, even the academic integrity module wasn't immune to ridiculous submissions. I had people sending me screenshots of different courses, sending me the screenshot that I included in the question. I have no idea. I don't know if they thought that no one was actually looking at the submission, but take the time. Don't be doing 73 things at once. Take the time, be mindful, read the question, submit it, and review and make sure one last time before submission that you've ticked off all the boxes for what the question is asked. And this pertains not only to the academic integrity module, but to your term paper, to your discussions, all those sorts of things. All right. Any questions about the past? Any concerns with what happened up until, let's say, Friday at midnight? I see there's a chat and my chat window has disappeared. Yeah, Jan, I had a question about the response for this week. Do we respond to the question at the end and original post separately? No, you do not. It's one or the other. So, I'll move forward into discussions, but I'll give anyone a chance that wants to talk about the past here to go ahead, and I'll come back to you and talk about the discussion post in just 1 second. Is there anyone else that is concerned or has concerns that they want to express about, say, quiz 1 or academic integrity or course requirements, any of those things?
I just had a question about the material for like the course itself, like the course of the textbook, because it had I think forensic investigator and different types of investigator depending on what they're investigating, right? So in that sense, when it comes to, like, for example, the midterm, is it going to be specific for that? Like, say you asked about a digital forensics investigator compared to like one that's doing corporate espionage or doing like a regular crime, right? Is it different types of skills that are training? Is that what you have to break it down into to help to divide it?
Yeah, not so much. I wouldn't say. I don't think I ask about different roles as such. There is a wide variety, or there are a bunch of different skills that different forensic investigators are going to sort of use in their roles. But I don't think I would ask you to define the difference between one role and another, or the skill sets required. We're pretty general here, and our focus for the most part is going to be in the traditional digital forensics, meaning hard disk forensics. We'll get into mobile a little bit, but we're not going to spend a ton of time looking at, say, penetration analysis and blue team, red team, green team, things like that, where you're checking to see how secure data is or applications are, that sort of thing. We're more going to stay with sort of traditional forensics.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yep.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'll move on. I'll move on to, Elizabeth. Will we be able to review each test to see what went wrong on certain questions? So yes and no. So my philosophy with quiz questions is I don't release the answers ever at any time. Here's the problem that I face here. First of all, it's a philosophical approach in that my quizzes are not designed as learning tools, but rather to assess. So they're assessment tools for me, not learning tools for you. So the way that you make it into a learning tool, if you don't get perfect on a quiz, is you go through and you try and figure out where you went wrong. I don't want to get into a situation where students are memorizing answers and just spewing back data to me that way. I want you to actually learn the concepts. And if you've got, say, one or two questions that you went wrong on, but you don't know which ones, you're going to have to do a deeper dive to figure that out. The other thing is that I, yes, direct message, yes, Janisha, we can certainly do that. I am faced in an environment where every single question that I have in every single course has been posted online with answers. If you dig hard enough, but if I don't release the actual answers, then maybe the answers that are posted online are not correct. I am perfectly aware of the environment that I'm living in and teaching in, and a student that has maybe a lower ethical standard is going to try and just go online and grab the questions. I don't want this course to turn into a Google exercise. I want you to be engaged. I want you to think. I want to appeal to the analytical side of your mind, not the spew out information found on Google side of your mind. Okay, that's easy to do. You don't need a university education to use Google, as is shown by all the people that believe that they are viral experts in today's date, that think they know everything about vaccination because they've Googled it or found it on Facebook. I want you to learn something. I want you to retain something, but more than that, I want you to work the analytical part of your brain. I want you to be able to analyze a little bit better and write a little bit better when you leave me than when you came to see me.
For my discussion post, I realized that I forgot to ask a question at the end. I know there's like is the late penalty, can I ask a question or should I just leave it as it is? Like,
so I'll be perfectly honest. I would never penalize. I have never penalized anyone for forgetting to put a question. All that the reason for that question is to try and make it easier for your peers to interact with you. So at this point, I would not, and only because if you post that, then I would see that as the date of your first week's submission. I would just skip by that and not worry about it too much.
okay, thank you.
Okay, and having said that, of course, I do encourage everyone to include that question, just to make it easier to have a substantive communication or conversation when someone looks. Sometimes when someone looks at your post, if you do this amazing job, you don't leave them a lot of room to comment, and they don't want to just comment saying I agree, because there's no content to that. So do try and put that out there, but I wouldn't penalize. And I mean, I have other people marking, but I don't think that they would penalize either, and I can have a quick word with them. So so I've got another, I'm starting to get a couple requests from people to do a one-on-one talk with Zoom. I'm happy to do that. The problem is that if this doesn't end early, I have another class that I do from 3 till 4, and it would have to be after 4 o'clock. So for the people that are making those requests, I can slice off a little bit of time at 4 or 4:15. Please send me an email and we'll agree on a time. If this is short, then I will happily just take one person at a time and have a conversation after this. So on the other hand, I can't do 20 Zoom talks with students per class because I obviously don't have enough time to do that. So please do reach out. We'll make an appointment today. If you want to stick around after everyone else leaves, then we can certainly have that conversation, and that allows me to edit it out of this this video that will be published more widely. So yeah, let's work one of those angles and have that private conversation for those that are asking. Okay, so discussions, we've got one discussion post done now. What's going to be due this week is going to be the second post, the response to that question or response to a peer. So same requirements, I've said this before, but the same requirements exactly as the first one, 500 to 700 words, 3 cited references, and give me some meat and some sort of interaction, and hopefully you and other students can learn from that conversation. You can pick anyone that you want to respond to within your group. There's no limitation, even if 3 other people have already responded. The difference between the second post and the first post is you'll be able to see all the posts that are there on the discussion board. Okay. So that's, any questions about discussions? Anything that we want to cover for that? Yeah, okay, so I'll move on. So we have a term paper that is due towards the end of March, maybe the last Friday of March, and I believe it's worth 15%. I check that. Bear with me, I'll check again. So the term paper is worth 15% and it's due Friday, March 25th at 11:59 p.m. It's important that is submitted in Word format. I'll emphasize that again. But our first problem is choosing topics. So I'm going to walk through how that's going to work. I'm going to release those subjects or those topics today at some point. I'm announcing it here. You guys may have a slight inside track on that. I will make an announcement. I'll post an announcement to Blackboard as well. But at some point today, what you're going to see is, sorry, just navigating under the group topic tab that's right below general discussions. Right now, I believe what you can see is your discussion group. So if you're in discussion group 10, for instance, it'd be discussions 10, and that's where you've posted your discussion, hopefully. What's going to happen is you're also going to see a tab or a link where you can choose your term paper topic. So it will pop up a list of topics. You will be able to scroll through that list and you'll be able to make a choice. There are 12 different topics that will be available. And like I said, sometime today before midnight. And my suggestion to you is, first of all, there's no huge rush to do it. I would do it as soon as I could and I get started soon. But I know from past experience that 20 to 30% of the class 2 weeks before March 25th will not have chosen a topic. Now, each topic will be capped in terms of the number of people that can choose it. So we've got 327 people currently in this class. So doing our math with a calculator, the topics are going to be probably about 28 to 30 people per topic. So a topic can certainly fill up and then it'll disappear from your list. But what I would do, my strategic advice would be to look at the topics and I'd look to see if there's something I'm interested in. And before I chose that, I would do a little bit of research to make sure I could find some decent sources, because remember, or maybe not remember, but For your information, there is a requirement of 10 references per paper. So you may cite them multiple times, but you're going to have 10 unique references. So don't pick a topic that you can't find a lot of papers on or resources to use in your references. Okay. So I always recommend that people pick something that appeals to them, but I would take that one cautionary step and make sure that I could find something on it as well. So, yeah, that's going to be released in the next, 10 hours or so. And you'll be able to see that list. You'll be able to choose. So you're going to find the list of topics initially under the groups bracket topics tab or menu item. Once you choose your topic, it's then going to appear in assignments. There's no assignments. It doesn't even exist right now, but I will open that up so you can see it. It'll be right above assessments where your quizzes are. There'll be assignments, and only the one that you've chosen will appear there. So it will disappear from the groups topics tab, and it will reappear under assignments. So you'll be able to see your full topic and all the hints or instructions that I include with it. And that's where the Dropbox will be. So you'll drop in your finished work in Word format into that link. It's the Dropbox there. Word format's important to me because the software that we use to check for plagiarism works best in Word. So that's why I require Word. I will not mark in any other format. I will take a look as submissions come in, and I will try and let you know, though I'm under no obligation to do so, if I see something that's been submitted in a different format and give you a chance to resubmit it. If I go through that process and you resubmit, you are subject to a 10% penalty. So just do it right the first time. Read the question, follow everything that's required, submit it in Word format. You can submit as many times as you want. I will use the last date of your last submission in terms of late or whatever, and that's the one I will mark, or that's the one that we as the marking group will mark for you. So is that reasonably clear about term papers? Any questions on that? All right. Just looking at my notes, I don't think there's anything else that I wanted to cover today. If there's no further questions, please get on with your day, get on with your Saturday. Watch for the announcements and watch for the topics. Choose your topic, and once you do that, get started. Put a little bit of time into it every week. By the time it's due at the end of March, you will have lots of things competing for your attention with other courses and whatever else is going on in your life. The best marks will definitely come from the ones that are submitted that are most refined. They've been written and you've edited them and refined them and re-edited them and handed in a nice polished piece of writing. I can certainly tell when I'm reading a first draft versus something that's been handled with care. So, and the marks are vastly different for those two types of submissions. Okay, so if there's no questions, if there's questions, shout them out or put them in the chat box. If not, please do get on with your day, and I will post this video at some time today or tomorrow as soon as I've had a chance just to process it. Thank you very much for attending.
Thank you, Professor. Have a nice day.